ربنا لطريق الخير يوجهنا. الله تعالى أنزله ورسول الله معلمنا، ورسول الله معلمنا.
الحمد لله وكفى، والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ونزلنا عليك الكتاب تبيانا لكل شيء وهدى ورحمة وبشرى للمسلمين. صدق الله العظيم. Our subject is entitled The Prohibition of Riba in the Quran and Sunnah, which is the title of the big book. But in order to get people to muster up the enthusiasm to take on this subject, we have to first explain to them the importance of the prohibition of riba in Islam. And so we wrote this book first and used this book to entice them to come to this book. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down revelation. It was the Hajj, the first and the last and the only Hajj that the Prophet ﷺ performed. The Khutbatul Wida was finished. And the revelation came down in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Al-yawm akmaltu lakum deenakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum al-Islam deena. The job is now perfected and completed. The Prophet ﷺ returns to Medina, and there are now about 81 days now left in his blessed life. In this last stage of his life, after Allah had sent down that revelation, two important events now occur. The first one is the visit of Jibreel alayhi salam, which we discussed right here in this masjid about 2 weeks ago. When Jibreel alayhi salam came in the form of a human being, sat down in the masjid in front of the Prophet ﷺ and asked 5 questions. The first 3 questions pertain to the deen and its very substance and heart, al-ihsan. The last 2 questions pertain to the end of history. And in response to the question, what are the signs of the last day, the Prophet ﷺ gave 2. One, that you'll find the naked, barefooted shepherds competing with each other in the construction of high-rise buildings, and you'll find that a slave woman will give birth to her mistress. In both of these signs, there is very clearly implied the factor of riba. The second event was the last revelation to come down. On the authority of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, and it is in Sahih Bukhari, he says, this is the last revelation to come down. What I recited in the second rak'at. Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah number 279, 280 and 281. In it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought a close, finale, to a series of revelations which had been coming down on the subject of riba. Now this is the last. And in this revelation he not only completes the subject, he also declares war. Allah and his messenger now declare war on those who still resist the ban on riba. And if Allah and his messenger are at war and we are home sleeping, something is wrong with us. If Allah and his messenger are at war and we are not at war, something is wrong with us. Indicating that it is the obligation of the Islamic State, the Muslim community, it is the obligation of the Muslim community when once they have control over territory, to wage war for the eradication of riba. What is this riba? And why has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chosen to send down this revelation as the very last revelation to come from Him? The first one came to Adam alayhi salam. And since Adam alayhi salam, revelation has been coming down. فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُمْ مِنِّي هُدًى. From time to time, revelation will come from me to you. And true indeed, they came. Until eventually the last prophet came. And now revelation is coming down in the last book, the Quran. And now in the last book, this is the last revelation. Why did He choose the subject of riba for the last word from Him? The answer very clearly is apparent in His declaration of war against riba. The answer is that herein lies the greatest danger of all. The greatest danger of all. If you allow this door to be opened, and the poison of riba were ever to be injected into you, you will be paralyzed. And your enemies will be able to take control of you. Do not let this door be opened. Resist riba. After that revelation came down, riba was eradicated in the economy of Medina. He said in the last revelation, if you turn away from riba, وَإِن تُبْتُمْ فَلَكُمْ رُؤُوسُ أَمْوَالِكُمْ. You are entitled, that is the money lender, to the return of the principal sum which you had lent. In Medina, the money lender made his livelihood through lending money. I pass on $200 to you, and you are obliged to return $400 to me. Time is what is responsible for the increase. Today this is known as lending money on interest. In other words, the money lender argued that time equals money. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rejects this riba, lending money on interest. He rejects it in a beautiful ayah of Surah An-Najm, in which He says, let me give you the meaning of the ayah first before I translate it and before I quote it in the Arabic text. He says, if you didn't plant, you cannot reap. Where did He say that? Is there any such verse in the Quran? Huh? If you didn't plant, you cannot reap. You can only reap what you planted. Where did He say that in the Quran? Come on, somebody. Huh? All right. That was the meaning of the ayah. Now let me give you the ayah. Surah An-Najm. وَلَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. That man is not entitled to anything other than that for which he worked. Yes. Worked. If you did not plant, you cannot reap. If the money lender lends, he is not planting. No. but he's reaping because his money is increasing. If Allah says that you cannot reap unless